Hello everyone, back to the 9th Summer 2020 update from GWV. So we've done 8 updates so far, and we are nearing the end of the summer updates now. We've done 8 summer updates and 2 season 1 roundups. We've only got one more summer update to go next week, and then one more seasonal model roundup to go as well, and then that's it. We'll be done, and we'll have to release the GWV Summer forecast on Sunday the 31st of May. So we are building up now pretty much to the end, to the climax of our summer update. So going to be quite a big update. We're going to be looking at ENSO for this update. So we'll be looking at summers that follow weak El Niños, as it's been we've been told that we've had a weak El Niño, borderline sort of ENSO neutral to weak El Niño. I've been told that we've had that through the winter, so we'll have summers that follow that go back to ENSO neutral or go to La Nina as well. Been quite difficult to get ENSO the ENSO phase sort of tallied up to this year. Been quite an unusual year ENSO wise, but we've done our best, and we'll have a look at that as well. At the end of the video, we're going to go through the sea surface temperature anomaly maps through the past years and decades. So that's going to be quite an interesting one. It's the sort of thing we tend to do more with the winter updates, actually. But I thought we'd have a look and see if we can find some years that compared to this year in terms of the sea surface temperature anomalies in the Atlantic Ocean. We focus on the Atlantic Ocean for that. So that'll be at the end of the video. For them, got plenty of analogs to get through. So I just say this is going to be quite a long video as always with the long range stuff, so you can't watch it when going. Don't worry, it will be kept on the summer updates page indefinitely, and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. I'll get that up for you on written on the summer updates page with written summary. I'll get that up for you this evening. Also got GWV Sunday roundup coming up as well, so that's going to be your eclectic mix of this and that. We're looking at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature anomalies, and more, and that will be coming up for you. That'll be coming up for you just after lunch. And of course, we're going to be live streaming as well on the YouTube channel. I'm betting into GWV.com and all of the social media accounts as well. But if you want to get involved in the live chat, you'll need to go through to YouTube. And we're going to be taking as many questions as we can. We're going to be looking at the latest observations, and we will also, in that live stream, be looking at the winter the analogs for winter 2020-21 from Patalpeng. Patalpeng's analogs are in for this coming winter, and I'll be showing you those in the live stream, and that will be starting from 5 o'clock this afternoon. So that's going to be quite an interesting watch, I think. Right, so I think that's pretty much everything that I've got to tell you. So a big thank you as always to our good friend Richard Trott for supplying us with the Summer 2020 updates GIF. And I think without further ado, we shall get on with it. So here comes the 9th Summer 2020 update. And as I say, it's an ENSO special this week. So this is the cold and warm episodes by season chart from CPC, NCEP and NOAA. So this is depicting all ENSO events going all the way back to 1950. Blue, of course, is La Nina. Blue is when we're in a La Nina phase. Red is El Nino. That's when we're warmer than average in the warm phase. And black is when we are in ENSO neutral phase. Right, so let's scroll down then and have a look to what's happened over the past winter. So we come down to the years of 2019 and 2020 just here, and we see that for the summer of 2019 we did actually have an ENSO neutral phase with those black colours. But it is now confirmed that we in fact through the winter did have one of the weakest El Niños ever recorded. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 tri-monthly periods that reach El Nino threshold just at 0.5 degree above average. It really is skin of your teeth stuff, this. But just about we are reaching El Nino threshold here with all of those tri-monthly periods coming out at least 0.5 degree above average, and this one, like the peak in January, February, March, comes out at 0.6 degrees above average. So it appears that yes, we have had a very, very weak El Nino for the winter of 2019-2020. And so what we're going to look at is summers that follow weak El Niños, but summers that do something quite specific. Either go to ENSO neutral. I don't think there's any chance that we're going to go to El Niño with this summer. I'm not seeing any chance that we're going to go to El Niño. So we've got to look at summers that follow very weak El Niños and are either ENSO neutral summers or they are La Niña summers, developing La Niña summers. So a good example of a year where this happened is 1959. Look at this. Here's the winter of 1958-1959. Just here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tri-monthly periods reaching El Niño threshold just in the winter of 1958-1959. Just about gets there. I mean, you see the colours fade back to black. We go back to ENSO neutral for the summer. And we say ENSO neutral really for the rest of 1959. So 1959 is doing this. 1959 is going from a weak, very, very weak, almost borderline ENSO neutral winter to weak El Niño, back to ENSO neutral through the summer. So that's what we're looking at for our first batch of analogues. So it's summers following weak El Niños, and these are ENSO neutral summers. The first one is 1866. So the summer of 1866 looks like this, has above average heights up to our north, below average heights over to the south of the country, and we're bringing wind from a northerly direction. So that's quite a cool and unsettled summer in 1866. The next summer is 1869. This has been showing up quite a lot in this year's packages of analogues. This one, again, has the above average heights just out to west of the country. Quite a lot of dry weather is therefore on offer. Winds are sort of westerly. It's quite a warmish summer, that. Not too bad a summer at all. It's very overshadowed by the summer before it, 1868, which was a very hot summer. This isn't as hot, but in its own terms, it's not too bad a summer, really. The next summer is 1881, and this one is very, very unsettled, with a deep trough of low pressure, not just over UK, but across much of northern Europe. The jet stream is pushed southwards as well. A cold and wet summer in 1881, following a weak El Niño and going to borderline, following a borderline weak El Niño and going to ENSO neutral. Our next weak El Niño to ENSO neutral summer is 1897. This one quite unsettled, with below average heights again out to our west, and we're bringing the winds from off the Atlantic, westerlies coming off the Atlantic. High pressure is blocking up to the north. Quite a cool and wet summer in 1897. And next we have 1906, going from weak El Niño to ENSO neutral. And this one with the above average heights centred over and to the north of the country, below average heights in the Atlantic and to our northeast. Jet streams doing something a little bit like that. So that's quite a dry summer, and it does have some quite warm spells, particularly at the end of August and the beginning of September. Next we have 1914. This one's been showing up quite a lot as well. So this one is quite an unsettled but also warm summer. It has high pressure up towards Scandinavia, low pressure down to our southwest. Winds are kind of like southeasterly. So that's quite a thundery summer. Heavy showers, thunderstorms threatening from the south. And yes, that's just an unsettled but also warm summer in 1914. A long gap then through to 1959, that's someone we're just talking about, and this is a very, very good extended summer with above average heights sitting over and to the east and northeast country. Below average heights are pushed up to the north along with the jet stream. I mean, that's just a really, really good summer, actually, in 1959. Lots of dry and warm weather indeed in that. So it's very extended. It begins in the spring, and can you believe it's still going on into the autumn? That's a marvellous summer in 1959. Another pretty long gap to 1977. The summer of 1977 is our next summer. That's going from weak El Nino to ENSO neutral. This one with the above average heights to the north and northwest, and below average heights to our south. Winds are sort of in from an easterly direction. That's a more unsettled summer. Brings to an end very abruptly the two hot summers, the run of the two hot summers of 75, 76, the daddy of hot summers, of course, 1976. It brings that brief run to an end, and the summer of 1977 is well and truly back to normal. Then we've got the summer of 1980. This one, again, with the below average heights centred over the top of the country. Above average heights are up to the north. The jet stream is being pushed southwards. So that's quite a cool and unsettled summer in 1980. Particularly unsettled, I think, later on, perhaps. Another pretty long gap through to 2005, going from weak El Nino to ENSO neutral, and this one has above average heights centred over to the west of the country. It's a relatively settled summer. It's a little bit of a forgotten summer, really, because it's overshadowed by 2006 quite a lot. But in its own terms, the summer of 2005 is not too bad at all. There's a lot of very pleasant weather within there, within that summer. And there's regular sort of hot spells, especially in the earlier part of the summer. And the last summer that's going from weak El Nino to ENSO neutral was actually last summer. The summer of 2019. 2019 looks like this, with the above average heights over and to the east of the country and also to the north. It does have quite a strong northern blocking signal. And below average heights then tending to be out to the west of the country. It means that we draw up very warm to hot southerly winds. So it is a very warm summer at times. It has an incredible heat wave late on in July, of course. But it's also a rather mixed summer. It's a very strange summer, really. It's unusual to have such a high proportion of northern blocking, high pressure over Greenland, with winds coming up from the south. That is quite an unusual summer in 2019, but it does make up the last summer within this package of analogues. So, putting all of that together, this is how all Junes combined are looking when we are going from a weak El Nino to ENSO neutral. And to be honest, it's not a bad signal really for the Junes. It tends to have higher pressure up towards Scandinavia, lower pressure tends to be down through the Med. There's quite a nice extension from the Azores high as well. So that isn't too bad at all really. It does imply that we could start the summer on a relatively warm, dry and fine note in June. July looks like that, so the below average heights sort of through central parts of Europe. We're not particularly unsettled. Got above average heights more to our north and west. It could just be a little bit on the cooler side, I suppose, in July. But offsetting that, of course, is the fact that you are at the peak of the yearly temperature on average. So again, I don't think the signal is too bad for all Julys combined either. And then all August combined look like this, and it goes downhill rapidly for August, quite clearly, with below average heights then developing in the Atlantic and coming into northern Europe. High pressure is up towards the pole, jet stream is pushed southwards, so just quite a cool and wet signal really for the August combined when we are going from weak El Nino to ENSO neutral. And finally, for this package of analogues, all summers combined, when we go from weak El Nino to ENSO neutral, looks like that. So it tends to have higher pressure up towards the north, lower pressure tends to be to our south and southeast. Bear in mind, there's a lot of intra-month variation going on there. So by far and away, the best month for warm, dry weather is June, and the worst month for warm, dry weather is July. It is August, I should say, and July is somewhere in between, so implying a front-loaded summer with the warmest weather early on and then cooler and wetter later. Right, so that's the first part of the video done. I'm going to pause it there, and then we're going to look at, again, weak El Nino going this time to La Nina. And I'll be back very soon when we have a look at those analogues. So I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're back. And we are ready to resume our 9th summer 2020 update. So in the first part of the video, we looked at summers following weak El Nino winters that went back to ENSO neutral. The evidence with those appeared to be rather front-loaded with the summer, warmer, drier earlier on, and then becoming more unsettled later. The next thing we've got to look at is, again, weak El Nino winters, this time going to La Nina. So let's get on with that. So again, we're going back to this page, which is the cold and warm episodes by season page, showing each individual El Nino and La Nina event going all the way back to 1950. I want to focus on the year of 1995. Where is it? There it is, just there. So, this is how the winter of 1994-1995 comes out. Weak El Nino winter, up to a 1 degree above average. That's weak El Nino threshold. It is stronger than the El Nino that we've just had, of course. A little bit stronger than the winter that we just had. Nevertheless, that's still a weak El Nino threshold. So, winter of 94-95 is a weak El Nino winter. We see it in this tri-monthly period for March, April, May. We go back to black and we go back to ENSO neutral through the latter part of the spring into the early part of summer, and then later on in the summer we start to go into a La Nina event. It's a slow old process to get the La Nina going, but this summer is transitioning from a weak El Nino into what it was a weak La Nina. We only went to 1 degree below average at the maximum with that La Nina event, but 1995 did this. It went from a weak El Nino to a weak La Nina through the summer of 1995, and so that's what we're going to focus on next summers that are going from weak El Nino to La Nina, preferably weak La Nina as well. So this is how the summer of 1886 is looking. This is our first summer, of course. This one is an unsettled summer with below average height centred over the top of the country. Jet stream is pushed southwards, and yes, looks cool and unsettled with that one. Next up, we've got 1903. This one, again, bringing the below average heights in from off the Atlantic. Quite a strong westerly flow. That's a very unsettled summer, wet summer in 1903. Our next summer is 1924. This is one of the worst summers of the 20th century. It is going from a weak El Nino to a La Nina. So again, this one, very, very bad summer in 1924. I say it's one of the worst summers of the 20th century. It is in there within our analogues package. The summer of 1942 is next up, going from weak El Nino to La Nina. And this one, again, below average heights up to north, high pressure pushed out into the middle of the Atlantic. Jet stream is on a northwest-southeast alignment. That looks like a very cool and unsettled summer as well in 1942. 1954 is our next summer. Again, this is a really, really bad summer, and quite clearly this package of analogues going from weak El Nino to La Nina is much worse than the El Nino to ENSO neutral analogues package. This is a much more unsettled package of analogues, to say the least. Again, we have the below average height centred over the top of the UK and much of Northern Europe. Jet streams being pushed a long way southwards. A cold and a wet summer in 1954. However, we then get a very long gap through to 1995, and this is how the summer of 1995 is coming out, and it's a very, very good summer with high pressure centred over top of the country, winds are in from the east. It's sort of saving the analogues package to quite a high degree. This is a really hot and dry summer. Obviously, compared to the previous summers, looks like a little bit of an outlier, but it is there within our analogues package. And finally, we've got 2007, and this takes us back to normal, really. So again, the summer of 2007, going from weak El Nino to this one a little bit stronger with a La Nina, but going from weak El Nino to La Nina. This one with high pressure blocking up towards Greenland, trough of low pressure over the UK and Western Europe. Winds are in from the northeast. That's a very wet summer, of course, in 2007, and quite a cool summer as well. putting all of that together, this is how all Junes combined are looking when we are going from a weak El Nino to La Nina. The above average heights are more unsettled signal clearly compared to the El Nino to ENSO neutral analogues. This one again, the high pressure out towards the northwest, the below average height centered over and to the south of the country. Winds are sort of coming in from an easterly direction. Looks more unsettled, and particularly so for more southern parts of the country. But look what happens when we get to all Julys combined. That looks absolutely atrocious for all Julys combined. Bear in mind, we have got 1995 in this analogues package, but even with that, look how strong the signal is for below average heights to be over the top of the UK and covering Northern Europe as well. All August combined also looking very, very bad, with below average heights again across northern and western parts of Europe. Jet stream is being pushed a long way southwards, very unsettled for all August. And the summers themselves look pretty bad as well when we go from weak El Nino to La Nina. All summers combined again with the below average height centred over northern and western parts of Europe. The jet stream is pushed a long way southwards. A cold and a wet signal for all summers combined. Not great at all, you have to say. But there we go. That's what the data is showing. So that's it. It's been quite a struggle to get our ENSO analogues together this season due to the fact that the El Nino has been so very, very weak and basically borderline ENSO neutral to weak El Nino. So it's been a real struggle to get these analogues together. And that's it for the analogue section of the video. I'm going to pause the video one more time, and then when we come back, we're going to go through the sea surface temperature anomaly maps at NOAA, going all the way back through the years and decades. It's more like what we normally do in a winter update, but I thought we'd have a bit of fun for this one and do it in a summer update. So that will be with you in part 3 of the video. I'm going to pause it there, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, we're back and ready to resume the 9th summer 2020 update, and this time we're going to have a little bit of fun. So for the first part of the video, middle part of the video, we was looking at our ENSO analogues, but I thought we'd have a bit of fun for part 3, and we'd have a look at the sea surface temperature anomaly maps from NOAA, and we go all the way back through the years, through the decades. So we're going to be focusing on the Atlantic for this. We've dealt with the Pacific, of course, in terms of ENSO. We're going to be focusing on the Atlantic, and we're going to see if we can find years that are the closest matches in terms of Atlantic sea surface temperature anomalies to this year. Don't forget to give us a like on the video if you've enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up, and also let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get the subs up to 7k before the end of the summer. I think it's going to be a tall ask, but it'd be nice. It would be nice if we could do it, but I don't think we're going to be able to. But anyway, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. Right, so this of course is the latest in terms of the sea surface temperature anomaly maps. This is the new view because they've updated the charts. This is the new view from NOAA. So we're focusing on the Atlantic Ocean over here. So that's how the Atlantic is currently looking on like the new view. So on the new view we've got sort of warmer anomalies here, we're cooler just here, and then we're warmer really through here. So it looks like we've got a little bit of a tripole type pattern. That's on the new view though. The problem with this is that we can't compare back to past years. When these new sea surface temperature anomalies maps have been going for a few years, then we'll be able to have a base to compare to. But at the moment, we only have these, and they are very, very different to the old sea surface temperature anomaly maps that we are used to, such as these. Thankfully, we can still show you the old version of the sea surface temperature anomaly maps, and this is it. So let's pull that out just a little bit more. This is it. So again, we're focusing on the Atlantic. This is a view that we used. This very latest from last Thursday, 14th of May. So that's how it's looking on the old view. So warm through the tropical Atlantic still. Both new versions and old versions have been pretty warm through there. Cooler really through here. But up here, it's not as warm. South of Greenland, it's not as warm, though it is a little bit warmer than, like, further south. So it's trying, it looks like it's trying to get itself towards, like, a tripod type pattern, but it isn't quite there at the moment. But that's how things look with, the old view for this year. So that's like the current setup on the old view in the Atlantic Ocean in terms of sea surface temperature and anomaly maps. Now, let's compare that. So this is 2019. So what do we think? This is 16th of May 2019. So what do we think in comparison this year to last year? I don't think there's all that much comparison, because I think this year the tropical Atlantic is warmer. It's warmer down here. And going further northwards, it's not as cold either. So again, that's this last year, I should say. And you can see, but it's quite a lot colder through this area just here. So I don't think there's all that much comparison between this year and last year. I'm not very pleased with the comparison between this year and last year, but I want you to let me know in the comments which year you think is like the closest matches, which year you think are the closest matches. That's 2018, so this is setting up the really hot summer, of course. Really hot summer 2018 has this very unusual pattern of like very cold to the south of Greenland, but also a horseshoe shape of cold going into a tropical Atlantic as well, and then much warmer in the middle. So we did have a very, very unusual sea surface temperature anomaly setup at this point in 2018, building up towards the very hot summer, of course. Had a very unusual sea surface temperature anomaly setup, in some ways similar to 1976, perhaps, with the sea surface temperature anomalies. Obviously, absolutely no comparison this year to 2018. They're completely different. So we can exclude 2018 from a sea surface temperature anomaly perspective. Let's carry on. That's 2017. I think this is a little bit better. This is, for me, one of the better matches. So that's 2019. That's 2017. I think it's quite a good match for the tropics. Cooler through here. Maybe a little bit cooler to south of Greenland than this year as well. But overall, I think that's one of the better matches in 2017. That's 2016. I'm not very pleased with 2016 from a sea surface temperature anomaly perspective. That's 2015. So obviously no comparison this year to 2015. The Atlantic is much warmer this year compared to 2015. That's 2014. What do you think about that one? I think there are some similarities, but I think it's warmer through the tropics this year, a lot warmer through the tropics compared to 2014. That's 2013. Again, what do we think about that? That's perhaps not too bad a match. 2013. So 2017, 2013 possibly are the best so far. That's 2012. So again, what do you think about 2012? I think really the tropics is warmer this year compared to 2012, and overall it's cooler this year to south of Greenland. So I'm not very pleased with 2012 as a match to this year. That's 2011. Again, what do you think about 2011? That could be a slightly closer match to this year in some degree. I don't think it's quite as good as 2017 or 2013, but it's perhaps one of the better ones. Again, I want you to let me know in the comments which years you think are the closest matches. This is 2010. Obviously a very, very striking pattern going on here, and no real comparison to this year. This is a classic tripole. Cold there, warm through here, and warm up here. The three-way band of warm over cold over warm in 2010. Coming out of a cold winter and setting up a cold winter, of course. This is 2009. Again, let me know whether you think 2009 is a very close match. I'm not really very pleased with 2009 at all. I don't think there's any comparison. That's 2008. So what do you think about that one? Could be a slightly better match, but I think overall the Atlantic is a little bit cooler this year in the Northern Atlantic anyway compared to 2008, and probably a little bit warmer down in the tropics. That's 2007. Again, Not sure there's all that much comparison. It's warmer this year in the tropical Atlantic compared to this point in 2007. That's 2006. Again, not really much of a comparison. That's 2005. So what do we think about that one? That one would be okay if it was warmer to the south of Greenland, but as it isn't, again, I'm not sure that's a particularly good match, but perhaps it's slightly closer to some of the years that we've seen so far. That's 2004. Again, it's warmer through the tropical Atlantic compared to this point in 2004. That's 2003. Again, that could be a slightly better match. What do you think about 2003? Could be a slightly better match. But again, not quite as good as 2017 and 2013, I don't think. That one is 2002. So, again, what do you think about that one? I don't think there's much comparison. 2002. There's not much comparison with 2001 either. Obviously, as we go further out, the image is changing and it's becoming more basic. We go through to 2000, the year 2000. Again, not a good match. It's much cooler in the tropical Atlantic at this point in the year 2000 compared to now. 1999, again, not much comparison. Remember, we're looking here now on this view in the Atlantic. So again, not much comparison between this year and 1999. 1998, again, I don't think that's a particularly good match either. And finally, we've got to 1997. And again, what do you think about that? That could be a slightly closer match, except I think the tropics are warmer this year compared to this point in 2007. Tropical Atlantic is warmer this year, and it's not as warm this year as it was in 1997 to the south of Greenland. So for me, the best matches to 1997 are going to be 2017 and 2013. Can go further back than that though, so this is how May 1995 was looking. Now, this is a much more basic view, of course, so sort of ignore this blue area just here. That shouldn't really be there. It should all be warmer than average through here. So this is how things are shaping up in 1995 compared to now. What do we think about that? So, that could be a slightly better match if it was warmer to the south of Greenland. Again, it's this area just here that's stubbornly not warming up on this view. So, if that was warmer, that would be one of the better matches, I think, actually, to 1995. But as it is, it's just not quite there. Then we go through to 1994. We're moving into cold AMO now, so we won't expect many of these years to match the warm Atlantic, particularly the tropical Atlantic that we've got at the moment. So no comparison to 1994. No comparison really to 1993 either. That's 1992. Again, no comparison this year to 1992. 1991, look how cold the Atlantic was in 1991 compared to this year. So again, no comparison. That's 1990. Again, no comparison whatsoever. 1989. Again, no comparison. Always consistently a lot cooler for the tropical Atlantic. That's 1988, so the Atlantic was a bit warmer in the year of 1988. What do we think about that? I don't think there's all that much of a comparison, really. 1998, that's 1987. So, whoops, that's 1987, this is 2020. Again, not much of a comparison, really, I don't think. 1986, again, no comparison whatsoever. 1985, look how cold the Atlantic was in May of 1985. 1984, again, doesn't compare at all, really. And then we go through to 1983, and once again, I mean, look how cold it was in May 1983 through the tropical Atlantic, like the Caribbean, and going into the tropics. So again, just absolutely no comparison whatsoever, and that's 1982, and again, we see absolutely no comparison at all to 2020 and to 1982. So for me, the best matches that we saw there were 2017 and possibly 2013. But please let me know in the comments which year you think are the closest matches in terms of the Atlantic sea surface temperature anomalies during this month, during May 2020. Let me know in the comments which year you think were the closest matches. Right, so that's it for the 9th Summer 2020 update. So, I hope you found it interesting and informative. As I say, don't forget to give us a like on the video, let us know in the comments what you think, and also make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. This video will be placed on the Summer Updates forecast page at GWV.com, and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. Just going over everything that was discussed in the video, so you'll be able to watch the video on demand and have a read of that written summary whenever you would like to do that. We're going to be back later on with GWV's Sunny Roundup. That will be your sunny afternoon eclectic mix of this and that, and then we shall have our live stream from 5 o'clock. Included in that will be this month's update from Patal Peng, and we'll be looking at his analogues for winter of 2020-21. It's going to be a very interesting watch. Hopefully we're taking lots of questions as well, I'm sure, and we'll be getting that underway from 5 o'clock. The video will be embedded to GWV.com. It'll be shared across our social media accounts, but if you want to get involved in the live chat, you'll have to watch it on YouTube and get involved with live chat there. Okay, 35 minutes, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.